And the upper level management kind of came to Alex and sat him down and said, hey, you're new here, but you're killing it. We want to offer you a general manager position. And Alex kind of looked at him and said, well, hey, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm going back to roofing. And I looked over at the manager that I was with because we overheard the conversation. And I was like, what is he talking about? Going back to roofing. They just offered him a career.
I wasn't going to be anything. I was going to be one of those guys that was going to be satisfied with people saying, better, you almost got it. Yeah. You're right there.
Everybody loves the underdog.
Everybody loves that. For me, I said, F that. Like, I want to be the best. And if I can do it, God willing, I'm going to be the greatest of all freaking time.
How we doing, Blue Collar American Dream Conference? How are you guys?
You guys here's all right?
We're super excited to be here. We just wanted to take a second to thank Lee Haight and his team for inviting us to speak on the same stage as Ed Milet, Dustin Poirier, all the other amazing speakers that we've had. Got some great speakers to come. We get to introduce somebody very special to us here in a little bit. But we wanted to take a second to kind of tell you guys who we are so you know who's speaking on stage. Lifetime Quality Roofing is an insurance restoration company, primarily a residential roofing company based out of Columbus, Ohio. We did $40 million in 2021 with 3 locations. Columbus office is our corporate office. We have a Tampa location, and we also have a Pittsburgh location there. In 2022, so far, we're on the trajectory to do about $75 million in business. We added a Dallas location, and we also have a Cincinnati location as well. But before we get too far into Lifetime itself, let's kind of talk about the journey and how we got there. The journey for me started with bodybuilding. Yeah, you guys heard that right, bodybuilding. So it'll make sense here in a few seconds. Bodybuilding for me started my junior year of high school. I was in gym class, and our gym teacher wanted everybody there to test the 1 rep max on bench press. I had literally never lifted a day in my life. I weighed about 110 pounds, soaking wet. Couldn't keep weight on, would eat a ton, was super active outside. But I think I got under the bar, and when it was all said and done, I think I benched the bar in like 2.5s on each side. So for anybody that's a lifter or isn't a lifter, the bar weighs about 45 pounds. So it was about 50 pounds altogether. Not a good look for me, not a good look for the ladies. So I was like, I vowed to myself that day that I was never going to be small or weak again. I knew I wasn't going to be very tall, but I wanted to be as wide as humanly possible going forward. So I religiously got into bodybuilding. I don't know if you guys were around 15 years ago when protein powder came out, but it tasted like absolute shit. I ate protein powder every single day for the next few years. And from my junior year in high school to my sophomore year in college, I went from 110 pounds to about 255 pounds. I got into competitive powerlifting and then transitioned into competitive bodybuilding and did that till I was about 2014. Bodybuilding has always been part of my life. It always will be. It's kind of laid the foundational building blocks for our business with drive and consistency and visualization. It's also taught us, that the mind is a powerful thing and what you believe you can achieve. And that's something we apply to business every single day.
So I actually started working out when I was 4 years old. Still got the Christmas video to prove it. My parents love those Christmas videos. I absolutely hate them. Okay, I was really excited, tearing boxes open. They want to bring them up. They've tried to get my wife to watch them 13, 14 different times. Drives me absolutely crazy. Every single time we go home for Christmas. Loved bodybuilding growing up, read every magazine you could possibly think of. Dad was into bodybuilding. He was the old school bodybuilder. He had the giant chest, the big arms. He used to pick cans up off the table and crush them for me and my friends. Drove us wild, absolutely wild, right? So as I got older, I started getting into the science behind bodybuilding, the science behind the muscle, diet, nutrition. As you can see in this picture up here, I did not follow any of that science whatsoever when I got up to 252 pounds. I thanked my wife after I cut back down for a show after this, and thanked her not for leaving me when I got fat. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much. Can we please hear it from my beautiful wife in the front row? So, bodybuilding started building blocks and different things in me and created a foundation. And I didn't realize it at the time. I needed something to drive me forward. So I was actually at the gym one day. I was doing financial services. I don't know if any of you guys have ever sold life insurance, done financial services. We, around the house, called me a glorified Grim Reaper. We also said it was about the 18-month period where I drug my balls through broken glass. That's actually what we say at the house. Not very much fun, but I was at the gym with one of my gym buddies. He was tattered clothes. I'd wore tattered clothes. I still do. I've got more t-shirts and cutoffs than I'd ever imagine. I still got stuff from high school. And we'd started talking, and one day he heard me talking about financial services, and he eventually said, hey, I need the life insurance policy. I didn't think anything of it. I figured, hey, $100 a month, whatever, cool. Well, this gentleman showed up in a brand new Mercedes. He had a Rolex on and a Louis Vuitton gym bag, and it made my ears and my eyes perk up a little bit, and I said, well, what do you do? And he said, well, I'm a roofer. And I said, it sounds like I'm a roofer now too. So I talked him into working with him, and I started doing sales. And in 90 days, I had outsold every single one of the sales guys on his team for the entire year, and I had banked more money in my bank account than I'd ever made in my life up until that point. It was just a life-changing opportunity. Winter hit, and when the winter hit, things changed because, hey, winter hit, I'm just going to sit on my butt, or at least I thought so. I was bored out of my mind. I had become a workaholic. I loved to work. I loved to succeed. I loved making money. I just didn't know it until that time. So I got a call from a GM of an LA Fitness, and he said, hey, come sell gym memberships. I said, I'm not interested. He said, hey, you can make all kinds of money. I said, well, I'll come in. You can prove it to me. So, that's where actually I met Zach Willard, and for the first 12 weeks I was there, me and Zach were top 10 in the country in sales for that 10 weeks, every single week. And if any of you guys have ever sold gym memberships, it's not the easiest thing to be top 10 in the country every single week. But then I took notice of this guy right here, and I'll let him take it from there.
Yeah, so it was 2014. I was working for LA Fitness doing sales. I was one of the top sales guys in the state, and LA was looking to open a new club on the east side. We were, looking to hire a few guys, putting to kind of a dream team together. I happened to be on that team, and one of the people, like he said, that we hired was actually Alex Gerhart. Like he said, the gym kind of just exploded for the first 6 weeks or 6 months. It was the biggest opening they'd ever had in LA Fitness history. We were top 5 for like 3 months straight. And the upper level management kind of came to Alex and sat him down and said, hey, you're new here, but you're killing it. We want to offer you a general manager position. And Alex kind of looked at him and said, well, hey, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm going back to roofing. And I looked over at the manager that I was with because we overheard the conversation. And I was like, what is he talking about? Going back to roofing. They just offered him a career. So the next opportunity we got, we kind of cornered Alex and we said, hey, man, tell us about this roofing thing. What's going on with this? And he goes, well, that 30 to 45 minutes that you spend walking somebody around the gym, selling them a gym membership, and make $45 to $75 in commission. Well, you can do that same thing out in the field and make $1,500 to $2,000. And I kind of stopped and looked at the other manager and looked back at Alex, and I was like, if you take me out in the field and show me that I can make $1,500 to $2,000 for every roof that I sell that the insurance company is pretty much paying 95% for, I will literally come in here and quit my job on Monday. So it just so happened that weekend he took us out in the field and we did some door knocking and we sold 3 or 4 roofs, made equivalent to a couple $1,000s in commission, and I went in on Monday and put my notice in.
So the roofing company we started with, we had no idea that we were working for the stereotypical bad contractor. He used to write us checks out of his personal bank account. Then the next week we would receive a check with W-2 taxes taken out of it. I've gotten calls from homeowners that said, hey, my hat vents don't look right. I've gone out to the job site and they had spray painted the old hat vents and put it back on the roof. If you're going to cut corners on a $12 hat vent, what are you doing behind the scenes with the rest of your business, right? But one of the most important things that this taught us was how not to run a business. And honestly, it was one of the best learning opportunities of Zach and I's entire lives. It allowed us to learn, hey, be ethical. Not that we weren't before, but to an extreme. Be beyond reproach, as Steve Patrick would say. Always take care of the customer first. And we did. And we've lost money on jobs where we had unhappy customers because things just didn't go right. And we would pay for it, Because what we understood was that one bad review in a world where somebody can go online and anybody can go online and write a review about your company, that one review can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars and you don't even know it, right? So we said, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to do something different. So one day Zach came to me and he said, hey man, I just wanted to let you know, because I was his manager at the time, I'm leaving. I'm going to go start my own roofing company. I said, well, shit, me too. So we decided to do it together, and Lifetime was born.
So Lifetime Quality Roofing was born. It started out like most of your businesses probably did, and some of these businesses up here. We had a little 8x8 office.
This is literally our first office. This
wasn't
is
very
right
big.
Here. That's
we
it.
didn't really need a lot, our first year that we were in business. We actually only had a few months left in the season to sell. And in 2015, we did $300,000 worth of business. We kind of sold independently our own jobs just to create a referral base going into 2016. So 2016, we did $1.8 million in business, started to put the fundamental building blocks of the company together and hired a sales team. He focused on operations and supplementation. I did production and sales. Moving into 2017, we grew, we did $3.4 million. We kind of added a customer relationship management software at that time. We figured we needed to be organized because we were starting to get more and more jobs, so it just made sense. Going into 2018, we added Gale Force, our sister location that's down in Tampa, Florida. That was just after Hurricane Irma. And we really focused on putting together the scalable processes that were not only going to be for that year that we did $4.5 million, but for when we got to $20 million. And we're glad that we did that because in 2019, we actually did just under $22 million in business. We added a Pittsburgh location of our company that year. It was a great year for us for growth. Going into 2020, we added our Lifetime Quality Solar division, which has been an amazing value add for our customers. We're super excited about solar. We did just under $32 million that year. And then, like I said earlier, in 2021, we did around $40 million in business that year. So it's been an amazing experience so far. We've had storms in just about every market, like I said, so we're excited to kind of see what the future holds for us. We've got some accolades along the way. Business First, Fast 50 had us at number 9, number 3, and number 8. Top 10, 3 consecutive years in a row, and that's for the 50 fastest growing privately held companies in Central Ohio. Inc. 5000 list had us at number 946. And Top 100 magazine had us at number 67 and number 61 over the past couple years. And then this year we won the Owens Corning Platinum MVP award, which they only give 5 out in the entire country. So it was awesome for us to be able to kind of receive those accolades and for our team to see that their hard work is paying off. We wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for our team and the time and the dedication that they put in. And they're the reason why we keep reaching new heights every year.
So as many of you guys in Florida will know, they passed a law last year called SB 76. I don't know if you guys know, but we are also Gale Force Roofing. We're the ones that sued the state of Florida in federal court and got an injunction against the state so that we could keep doing the things that we love and feeding our families and keep our businesses running. And because it's Memorial Day coming up on Monday, I don't compare myself to the hard working men and women in our military. So I'd just like to take a quick second and hear it for them. Round of applause, please. Yeah. Now, what the men and women in our military do is they go abroad and they fight for our rights, right? Well, it's extremely important that here at home you guys do so as well. The insurance companies are ganging up on us. We all pay insurance companies premiums. They're using those premiums to put money in politicians' pockets. They are changing the laws in their favor, so you guys better keep notice. Now, does anybody know what the Triple Comma Club is? Anybody? You? $1 billion. So we talked about the past, now we're going to talk about the future. This year we're going for $75 million, but that's our goal right there. We want to be the first residential roofing company to hit $1 billion. And we're going to get there. And wherever the hell Lee is in here, I don't know where he is. I think he's in the back. I think I see his hat back there. Sorry, Lee, we're going to beat his ass there too. Okay? I know this is his conference. Love the guy, but that's what's going on. But it's not the fact that we're going to get there, but the process and how we get there that's going to be more helpful to you guys. We don't like standing up here talking about ourselves, but the backstory has a lot to do with our lives and our success. So I'm going to let Zach touch on a few key points for you guys.
So we were trying to decide exactly what we wanted to talk about. Lee had asked us to talk about our story and kind of bodybuilding and how it brought us to where we are today. But Alex and I wanted to make sure that we hit on some things that you can take back to your businesses and actually apply. I did want to make a disclaimer. If there's any salespeople out here sitting next to owners and your owner doesn't do the things the way we do it, that's totally fine. That doesn't mean they're doing it the wrong way. That just means that we've found an efficient way for us to run our company. So we kind of want to talk about the industry standard for a sales process and how we do things differently. We kind of break the mold across the board, and we'll go through kind of those things and why we do it that way. So the industry standard's always been a sell, build, collect model for insurance restoration. 1099 sales guys has always been the industry standard, and paid off profit has been a standard. So we actually have W-2 sales guys. We love our W-2 structure. We changed not too many years ago, and it's been an incredible change for us. Alex talked a little bit about it yesterday on the panel, but it allows us to have control of the schedule. It allows us to be able to properly manage people. We all know 1099s can be a pain in the ass. So it's just a really, really good structural change for our company. I recommend it for anybody else that's thinking about doing that. We pay off revenue and not profit. We do that because we're all about transparency and honesty within our company. And as far as revenue is concerned, you get a check, you turn it in, you get paid based off that check. You don't have to worry about the profitability of the job, material and labor bills and things like that. So to get back to sell, build, collect. So the typical structure for most roofing companies sounds a little bit something like this. Sales guy goes out, does an inspection, right? Helps a customer call in a claim. Next part of the process is to meet that adjuster. They help that roof get approved. Then they'll set up a contract signing with the customer, sign that contract. The sales guy typically does that. After that process, the sales guy sometimes will order the materials for the job. Sales guy will sometimes manage that job site. Sales guy will sometimes supplement that job. And then at the very end, sales guy usually goes and collects that check. Here at Lifetime, we're all about compartmentalization and specialization for specifically about what the responsibilities of the position are. So sales guys should remain to sell. So our model looks a little bit different, and I'll kind of go through our process. So the sales guy still makes that initial contact with the customer, still advises them to call in the claim. We actually have a Lifetime Quality app that the customer will download. It is a customer experience app that as statuses change in our job Nimbus, they also change within that customer experience portal. It houses all referrals, marketing, things like that for the customer. So next part of the process, sales guy obviously goes out, works with the adjuster, makes sure the roof gets approved, gets that final work scope, and then they hand that into the office where we internalize the rest of the process. So we have a contract signer that's a point of sale contract signer that's trained contract, goes out, signs that contract, sells upgrades, sells solar, things like that. We have an internal team that manages the rest of that experience before the job goes on, calls the customer, sets expectations before the build. During the build, we have a construction coordinator that's out on the site taking photos, managing the job, running materials, doing all the things that they should do. It's not necessary for the sales guy to be out there, but we do encourage that they are to work that neighborhood, of course. After that, it goes into supplementation, where we have an internal supplement team based off of ex-adjusters and things like that will actually work to get that homeowner exactly what they deserve based off of manufacturer requirements and code upgrades and things like that. So they'll rewrite that estimate. Sales guy still gets compensated for what they're writing. And then at the very end, we have an internal collection person that actually goes out and gets those checks. So as you can see, the process for the sales guy is extremely narrowed down. We internalize most of the job because at the end of the day, there are customers, and the customer experience is matters. And what we give back to the sales guy is the one thing that they can't get back, and that's their time.
So the longer and longer you do this, you'll realize that money is fantastic, but time is more valuable than money. And that's why we try to give our sales guys back as much time as possible. So you want to figure out how to be as efficient with your time as you possibly can. So what you do is you bring your people in and you instill habits in them to be habitual and consistent every single day, okay, to get the most out of their hours. Then you go back to the office and you create a process. And when I say process, you guys heard me talk about it yesterday. You go down to the nittiest, gritty, most finite detail, and it's important to do so. You want the same words being given to every single customer, right? You want to be McDonald's. You want to be making the same cheeseburger in Tampa as you do in Dallas, as you do in Pittsburgh, as you do in Cincinnati. It's incredibly important. McDonald's isn't McDonald's because of the cheeseburger. It's how they make it, and they can make it everywhere and do it the same exact way and give those customers the same experience, because customers that get the same experience and it's a good experience, they keep coming back, right? So once you have habits and processes and those people follow your processes, it leads to success. It does, 100%. And once you start building success, you can build an amazing culture. This is a quick snapshot of our culture, right? Culture has become, well, if it'll play, there it goes. Culture has become a very cliche word these days. If you've ever gone to a job interview, everybody wants to tell you how amazing their culture is, right? Well, our culture is a culture of happiness. The reason it's a culture of happiness is because everybody's successful. It's a culture of happiness. It's a culture of success. It's a culture of winning, right? And with this culture and the things that we instill in our guys every day, Lifetime is going straight to the moon. And when we get there and we plant our Lifetime flag right next to the American flag, we hope to see the rest of you guys there too. Thank you.
So normally we'd walk off stage, but we're actually introducing the next person that's up here. This is somebody, I don't know if you can tell I'm smiling because I'm super excited. This is somebody that we have, watched come up all the way from 2005 to current. This is somebody that I used to work out in a dungeon-style gym with posters of this guy up on the wall. Aided a lot of motivation that Alex and I have had over the years. So we're really excited to have 7-time Mr. Olympia here. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is somebody that tied Arnold Schwarzenegger for seven-time Mr. Olympia, obviously. And in the back, waiting right now, about to come up here, is Phil the Gift Heath.
Woo! Let's hear it for Phil Heath, baby. Before we get underway, I just want to take, I have to, just one time, selfie with Phil Heath on this stage. Boom. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Every opportunity. Get that shit on the gram.
If I fall out of this seat, don't make fun of me. Okay?
Ooh. I think they gave me the...
I told him in the back, I was like, I don't know if it's going to hold Phil. We're going to have to find out.
I'm 260 right now, so if I was 270, I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're close. Well, this is a different, obviously, crowd for you. It's not a bodybuilding crowd. But we wanted to kind of walk through, your career a little bit, maybe give them a backstory. Obviously, you started in basketball, not bodybuilding.
Yes.
And then you turned pro in 2005. So why don't you kind of talk before you went on to be Mr. Olympia and kind of explain to everybody kind of what you were doing before you got into bodybuilding?
Yeah, so I grew up in Seattle, Washington, where I ended up being a two-sport athlete, all-state track, all-state hoops. Was fortunate enough to get a Division I scholarship to the University of Denver, where I majored in both computer science and business. And although I played Division I hoops, given the fact that I'm 5'9" and pretty undersized, I was able to go further than that. But during that 5th year of education, I started watching a couple friends compete in bodybuilding, and I just got the bug to go try it. Next thing you know, I'm winning my first amateur show and ended up steamrolling that circuit. And actually in 2005, became Mr. USA. And I realized another thing, which was I could get paid to go work out and focus on my body. Sign me up. So thereafter, I was working for Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness, touring the world, doing a lot of appearances. And then come 2008, I did my first Mr. Olympia where I placed 3rd. That was a really cool experience, obviously, because at that time, no one had placed that high since '94. So I was, of course, one of those guys like a LeBron James, a Kobe Bryant, just meteoric rise to the top, traveling the world, meeting a bunch of people. But one of the craziest things was when in 2009, I'm thinking, I'm going to win this damn thing because, I just placed 3rd. Well, that didn't work out so hot because I ended up getting food poisoning the night before. And I ended up getting 5th. But I was interviewed right after that show. And I remember telling one of the reporters that a measurement of a man is when you fall down and how you get back up, right? So I wanted to make sure that 5th place promoted me for better. And I wanted to make sure that everyone that was down for me during that moment, that was, encouraged me during those moments where I was really upset or very, very disappointed. I mean, definitely had tears running down my face because I worked so hard. And I realized that at some point in time, just because you're putting yourself in the best position to win, shit happens. Just shit happens. And that following year, I got 2nd. And which was cool, but I felt like it was one of those things where you realize how safe 2nd place is because those expectations are just, not as high as first. It's like almost when you were a kid and you were an A student and your parents would be up your ass and they would say, why can't you get straight A's all the time? And you're like making excuses. You start slouching your shoulders and stuff like that. I was doing the same thing as a grown-ass man, but until I actually owned my reality, which was I'm not willing to wear that heavy-ass crown because of the standards that I have to have, the standards that people are gonna put on me. I wasn't gonna be anything. I was gonna be one of those guys that was gonna be satisfied with people saying, better, you know, you almost got it. Yeah. You're right there.
Everybody loves the underdog.
Everybody loves that. For me, I said, F that. Like, I want to be the best, and if I can do it, God willing, I'm gonna be the greatest of all freaking time. And, thank you. But it came more from accepting my current reality of knowing that my attitude was not of a champion mindset. I was playing myself. Everybody else was cool, like, you know, hey, Phil, you got second place. I was like, that's not good enough. So then that following year, I won that Mr. Olympia in Las Vegas. And the way it felt, my God, the way it felt allowed me to think about every why in that road of how I didn't give up and how it made me feel knowing that if I could just hone in on this feeling right here, knowing that there's gonna be a bigger mountain to climb, I'm gonna be all right because I'm now battle tested more than ever before. And I was able to amass 7 freaking titles. And what's cool about it, thank you, what's cool about it is the fact that Arnold got 7, but I always get to tease him now at the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
And I get to say, you won 6 and you retired and you came back and won 7. I won 7 in a row. I'm just saying. But the journey has definitely been, you know, filled with a lot of ups and downs. I mean, I'm the guy that only had $43 to his name when he was doing a junior national show in Chicago, Illinois, and was hoping that I would get noticed by Flex Magazine or Muscle and Fitness. I literally had $43 freaking dollars. And I remember how that felt. I remember like not having, you know, abundance. And I still lean on that today because I know where I come from. And I know a lot of you guys out there have had those moments, especially over the last couple years. I think the biggest thing that we can learn from right now is that that measurement of man or womanhood right now is being tested like a motherfucker. And you have to just own it of your reality and accept no more failure, no more hardship, no more victim mentality, none of it. Because there's someone out there that has figured it out. There's someone out there that doesn't have the excuses. There's someone out there that is actually, instead of watching Netflix and binging on Ozark and all this other stuff, they're enhancing their skills because they're preparing for that moment. Because they know when that moment comes, it's only that much room for them to win. But they're willing to do anything to seize that moment. And then if you don't do that work, you're gonna be the one watching from the sidelines pissed off because they're driving a nicer car, they're having a better house, they're hitting those bonuses, they're able to put their kids in that school that they wanted, they're able to have all the things that they dreamt about come to freaking reality, and you're gonna be pissed, and you're gonna be upset, and you're gonna be pointing freaking fingers. And then there are gonna be 3 more pointing back at your ass. So I think it's really important that we continue this relentless momentum. And I'm no saint, and I'm not perfect, but I know this. My job ain't finished. Neither is yours. You have every tool, literally, at your disposal, and you've already been promoted for greatness. In order to seize it and to make it repetitive, you have to claim it all the time. If I were to ask anybody by a raise of hands who would train with me, especially you guys out there, who would train with me and do chest or arms?
I do legs.
Okay, who would do legs?
Yes.
You sure? Now see the change. This big guy, right? He's like, oh yeah, man, I already got you. But the mindset of that, when someone says arms, they're like, yeah, and everybody know, come Monday, they hit an international chest day, so we know how that's gonna look like. But how many people are really begging for that leg day? That leg day is different. that leg day hits different. Why? Because you have to really focus. Getting under that squat rack, seeing all those 45-pound plates get loaded up, that bar will bend. And you know that type of failure hurts. You could actually get very, very hurt. You know it requires a level of discipline. You know it requires, when we talk about discipline, you have to go maybe 2 days prior knowing, you're like, man, I got legs on Tuesday. I cannot go out tomorrow. I cannot eat all this junk. I cannot drink. I cannot do all this stuff because I'm going to puke and I'm going to pass out and I'm not going to feel all right. He's laughing. But arm day, you're just like, oh, I could be a rock star. Give me the cervezas. Give me the shots. Like, let's go. It'll just go right here. If you live life like leg day, you'd be surprised on what you can do. If you change your mindset up and understand how hard those leg days really are and realize that could be life. So when you're dealt with some heavy, shitty moments of adversity, you actually stand up and you look it right in the eye and be like, I've been waiting for your ass. I've been preparing. I've been preparing for you, your ass right there. Let's go. Bring them all on. Those are the moments where you're going to be promoted into that next level in order to ascend into your own personal greatness. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can share it with others. You can share it with others on your team to let them know that, oh, don't worry, man. This is what you got to do. Well, boss, I just had this hardship. We just lost, this person, our job force got, eliminated by 30% in your quota. Sorry, boss, but you put that quota way too high. Someone else will do it. Why not you? And why not now? Why not now?
That's what I'm talking about.
So, yeah, one of the things that I have playing in my head is that old song from Van Halen, Right Now. Don't wait for tomorrow, right now. Come on, it's everything. What is it in your freaking life that you can apply that song to right now? Let's hope that when you're in your darkest moments and you're sitting in the shit, that you could just have that right now for me. Because no one can ever want more success for you than you. Your wife, your husband, your kids, your coworkers, they can't want it more than you, no matter what it is. Don't matter if it was, for me, it was bodybuilding. Didn't matter if it was me getting my degrees. Didn't matter if I wanted to do a business deal. No one can want it more than me. No one can want that success more than you. So when you go out there, you have to know, you have to accept the fact that you ain't the only person that's going through stuff. You ain't the only person that's going through hardship. You're not the only person that wants it. You know what's cool about that? It makes it competitive. Makes it competitive. And if you greet it with a smile and a grin and just like, then you're ready. You're ready to achieve greater because you put the freaking work in when no one else was watching, no one was patting your ass on the back. And in my case, they would be liking my Instagram photos or whatever. But it's that time, and it's right now. So yeah, I ran a bunch of time off the clock.
No, you're good.
But
you're good.
I just feel a vibe with you guys, and this is a very intimate room, and I just wanted to, like I told you, I said I'm an open book.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure you guys walk away with something from me. Obviously, my own personal experience. If you have any questions, let's open it up.
You guys got to understand too, like me and Zach were geeking out about this. Like as soon as Lee said, hey, yeah, I'm gonna have you guys interview Phi Heath, we're like, holy shit. We used to have his photos on our walls. We used to watch his videos and then go in and train. And when they say don't meet your heroes, F that, man. He is cooler than hell. And obviously, bodybuilders get a bad rap for not being intelligent. This is an intelligent man right here, right? Can I hear it for Phil?
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Does anybody in the crowd want to ask Phil a question?
You better not be bashful either, damn it.
We'll ask this big guy, and then you're up next.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny because when I first started getting into bodybuilding, I had an old roommate, And he said, I got the perfect nickname for you. And I was like, what is that? He goes, the gift. I go, what kind of arrogant ass shit is that? He was like, no. Like, I know you're gifted in that way, but you're different. You speak better. You have a different look about you. You come from a different sport. So then it was like my moment of like that hero's journey type of thing. Try to redefine what that is for me, and understanding that that comes with a lot of self-development. What I learned was that, yes, was I genetically gifted? Yeah, I'm a black guy with calves. Like that's, you definitely don't see that very often.
Pull my pants
I know you guys just had like the other, what was it, Usman and those guys? They ain't got no calves, man. Are you kidding me? No, don't tell him.
He might
no,
still
don't
be in
tell
the
him
back.
because he's gonna whip my ass. But
Drop out of the ceiling
right?
or some shit. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, I had all that going on, but it was what I did with that gift that brought me here today. I get to share my experiences and also remind everybody else that we all have a gift. It was in order for me to maximize mine, one of mine, that could allow me to speak from high-level experience. Everyone in here has a gift from the man upstairs. It's upon you to accept it and to cultivate that thing and to give a damn about that thing when people have doubted you, because you've already been promoted to do all of these incredible things with that gift. And when it's your time to share it, you're doing what I'm doing. You're doing it without hesitation. You're giving out knowledge and not being afraid that even with a competitor that you're, I'm giving them the secret. You're the one that created the recipe. What are you talking about? You'll always be better if you work hard. So that's what the gift really means.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, this gentleman.
That gentleman with the button up there. The eye of the tiger.
That winning can be habitual. Winning can be habit. We create a lot of bad habits. And I know a lot of people, even some of my friends in the pandemic, created a lot of bad habits. Practice has never made perfect. Perfect practice does. And one of the key words that I told myself when I started getting into this bodybuilding journey was stamina. Because stamina is never used, I'll be honest, I never hear it from any motivational speaker. I never hear stamina. I hear hard work, I hear peak performance. But how do you carry peak performance? You gotta have the stamina to run, like you're sprinting that marathon. It's a marathon, not a sprint. What are you talking about? It is a sprint. See, I was never hungry to, you gotta have that hunger and this and that. Man, I'm starving for greatness. You know what it feels like to starve? Well, I do. When it was just me and my mom in West Seattle after she just divorced my dad and we didn't have much, and there was a few times I'm starving. So I know what that felt like. So for me, it was like, I'm not afraid to win that first Mr. Olympia. I'll be honest, like after the tears flowed down and stuff, you know what I was thinking? I gotta go to India and go compete next week. Because we had like a little tour afterwards, but it was still being judged, so I can't party too hard. And then it reminded me of other guys that would say, man, it would feel good just to win one. Remember, Dexter Jackson said that.
Yeah, and he did.
And he only won one. Yep. So I then to answer your question, I put, in my opinion, it was crazy. It was something that other people would look at and be like, they would feel some type of way about it. I said I wanted to win 10 of them. The record is 8. After I won my first one, I said, I want to win 10 of these damn things. And I got ridiculed, like slammed in the magazine, slammed online. I got 7. I got
It's not
7.
done yet.
So you just got to want more. And if you want more, like Jim Rohn used to say, you want more, you got to do more. You got to micromanage everything. So you hear about like guys like Steph Curry, like he doesn't count the makes, he only counts the swishes. Well, for me, it was the same thing with bodybuilding. Anybody can do this 10 times, but can you really focus on that perfect repetition where you feel it like crazy and you can hold it, you can feel that pump? I can replicate that 10 more times better than the average person because I'm paying attention to every little detail. I'm paying attention to every little detail of cardio. Every time I'm counting the steps on the step mill. I'm counting them. It has it right there. I'm counting. I'm like, 45 minutes is going to be about 2,700 steps. So if I don't, then I think 2,700 steps. Can I do that in 40 minutes? Can I do it in 35? I'm micromanaging my own process, and that's what yielded those levels of success. And I knew the competition wasn't willing to go that far because they were just going through the motion.
And sadly enough, we're out of time with Phil, but before we let you off stage, Phil, me and Zach, actually, being big fanboys, with Lee, we got you a little gift. So we went out and got you a watch, and we went and had it engraved for you. Right on the inside, it says, Phil Heath, the gift.
Wow,
this is from me and Lee. And so 2 bodybuilders turned businessmen, and another businessman that wants to do bodybuilding.
He reached out. We saw a podcast, and so we had to return the favor. Guys, let's give him a round of applause.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you. And thank you guys. Thank you for hearing me speak. And I wish you guys all the best. God bless you all. I know there's a lot of things that are going on in the world, but I'm pretty encouraged in this group that you guys are making it happen. So continue to do that. Be encouraged nonstop. Do the work when no one else is watching, and feel free to kick a lot of ass.
Stand up and give this man a round of applause. One of the greatest athletes of all time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.